Evening campers, and it is a lovely evening. That's the sunset, glorious it is. And so this is the Friday night of a long weekend build. I'm going to be working tonight and all Saturday and Sunday trying to get the insulation floor done. There's our floor. Looks alright. So the target for today is to try and just start cutting up the woods. We're going to put it long ways, not long ways, width ways. And I'm thinking 7 or 8 lengths, widths, 7 or 8 goes that way. And then we'll do some cross pieces of it, depending on where the furniture's going to go. But loads of lengths, loads. We've got 12 lengths of that stuff. We've got some insulation foam, insulation board, foam board foam in the house. Yeah, but first I'm going to cut up this. I've set up my saw there. Yeah, can you see that? I don't know, but unfortunately I've done that much and it's just got too dark. I can't see what I'm cutting there. It's only 20 past 6, but at least I've made a start. I'm in a rhythm. I know how I'm doing this. What I'm doing is I'm cutting the longer bits out, and then I'm cutting 3 of them out to start with. When I've got more, I'll see what's left over. I may fill in the gaps a bit more. I've only done 2 on that one, but I'll have to stick another one in at least. What I don't know is whether I should run it down the edge, or, I mean, I've got it lovely and flush to the edge here, and on the others as well, so I'm really chuffed for that. Okay, back to it tomorrow. Morning. So this is where we left it yesterday with I'd started measuring out the battens, and today we're going to finish doing that and stick them down hopefully, and then put the insulation in. That's the task for the whole weekend, I think. Oh, and hopefully we'll get to put the plywood down on top of it before the end of the weekend. So I'm just going to set you up here so you can get a nice view of it, and then we might do something silly like time lapse, but we'll see. Right. I'm going to put this on time lapse because otherwise you're going to be bored. So we think we've hit a bit of a snag. I thought it might be a warped. You see the gap under there? I thought it might be because that batten is warped, but it doesn't look too bad. I'll take a smaller one. That's fitting nicely, but watch this. Found the issue. The issue, I'm not sure if you can see this. You may be able to. This is curving up from about there-ish certainly it's okay here. But there, it's definitely on the upward trajectory. So if I batten out to these, I might be okay. That looks... That one looks okay. Yeah. Right, we'll just batten out them and then figure out how what we're gonna do on the edges. Might have to might have to carve it in. So, after a lot of cutting and sculpting, for example, them bits at the end, I think I've got the framework down. It's not as straight and even as I'd like. I'm going to have to take a picture of this so I remember where the joists are when I come to screwing. The reason they're not in line is because there are dents in these. I don't know whether you can see that, for example. Can you see that? I don't think you might be able to if you get the light right. There's dents all the way around on some of these, and they're not the same level. I found that out going acrosswise. It curves at the edges from there to there. The top end was nice and flat, but when it comes down to here, especially between this seam, that is at a different level to that. So the planks are rocking. Now I've sort of got them just about right, that at least they're touching some of the some of the upright, whatever these things are. But yeah, I think that's it. Next step is to glue them down. I'll try and make them straight squares so it's easier to cut out the other one, the foam. But we'll glue them down and we'll get some weight on them, and then I'll take a picture of that.
So that Alan has appropriated all my weights to help keep the battens down on the floor. Not their intended use.
So what did you want to say?
It's not the intended use of my weights.
Well, I had to pick them up, so that was weightlifting. Had to wait for you to bring them in the van.
I carried 40 kilograms downstairs by myself. He carried one at a time, you know. 10.
Yeah, I think there was more than 10 by the time you add them all up. There is a fourth on the way. There it is. He still doesn't know about them. So this is what we've got to deal with today. Hopefully everything's stuck down. Right, although I did try and get them square yesterday, I didn't manage it. So them first two big squares are different dimensions, they're not square, so I'm going to have to do them individually, so I have to take notes. I have to make measurements. I've got a knife, I've got a saw, don't know which one's going to do best, but we shall try. Let's measure the bugger out first. Don't measure.
talking to then? How yourself?
Well, that's all the help I get, criticism. Should have called it a van load of one, Jodie.
I'm getting showered.
You're on camera.
I know.
That'll be a permanent record. Let's make a note of the date. 27th of February. She's having our yearly shower.
Oh dear.
Yes, sweetness. 16, which is that mark there. I know what's a right angle, so that can do that. 10, useless or wet. Nope. Measure once, cut the number of times, measure twice. It's at the widest point, it's 70. Which is, actually that's a good point, I'll do it that way around. No, I won't, yes I will. We'll cut 17 and then narrow it down. Probably nowhere near. Need a longer edge. Back in a move. Oh, hey, right on the dotted line. Would you believe it? As if it were planned. Let's just check that. It's a bit long. Yeah, it's a bit longer actually. We need it. 59.5 is there. Just before the dotted line. Right, now we need to cut the bugger. Some people say bread knife, some people say a saw, some people say Stanley knife. We shall see. Oh, you know, this isn't going to work because I can't get past the wood. Freaking hell, it is going through easy though. starting point. Next you know, I'm right-handed, so I'm doing this back and front. But that's how easy it is to cut. Oh, you couldn't see that after all that. So that's the first one in. Hopefully we'll get better and more proficient with time. Definitely measure twice. I think I had to measure 3 times. I still ended up starting the cut on the wrong end. But it's in, it's snug, it ain't moving. The buttons are holding, which is really good. And we'll leave it at that and show you what the finished thing's like. Well, another day's done. So that's the weekend done. What did I tell you I was going to do? I was going to install the subfloor floor and the plywood and stuff. I didn't get round to it. This is what I've done. So I got the battens down yesterday. I've cut up the insulation boards, stuck them in, started to make a template, and to be honest I'm just losing the will. And plus the fact I don't think I can leave this. I think I have to tidy up because I'm back at work tomorrow and I wouldn't want all this dust blown over into neighbours. Wouldn't be nice. So the van's going into the shop tomorrow. I might brush it out. Van's going into the shop tomorrow to try and sort out an engine warning light. And while they're there, I'm going to see if you can do something about this locking mechanism up there. That one up there, because it doesn't work when you use the handle. I don't know whether you can see that now. So I'm pulling the handle and it's just not moving at all. And because of that, you've got to come inside to open up using that button. Again, I done it again. I forgot to press record. So what I was saying, the only mistake that I think I made this week was installing the buttons. On some of them I didn't use enough glue, and so when we were putting the foam in, it nudged the buttons out and I had to re-glue them. But apart from that, it seems to work well. I've basically probably over buttoned considering what some people do, but I think you can't have too many buttons. And down this end, the reason why they're so weird is because I couldn't find flat bits of floor. The floor rises up at the ends, and even down the middle there's dents in the floor and everything, so finding a place where the wood will lie flat was a bit hard. So that was it. Okay, talk to you next week. And if I haven't already said it, like and subscribe.